This is the Alchemy Kitchen. In this video I'm going to show you how to make, it's a type of German barbecue pork steak. It's got a few names. We can call it Idar-Obersteiner, we can call it Schwenkbraten, Schwenksteak, or Schwenker. Kind of varies on where it comes from. But surprisingly, this is from it's a specialty in this area of Rhineland-Palatinate and also in Saarland, but they have a little bit different ways to marinate it. So we're going to focus on the Rhineland-Palatinate version. I'm going to show you how to make it. It's ridiculously simple, but extremely good. Then I'll go into the history of it, a little bit of the backstory of it, and show you the way to actually grill it. So, I mean, it's literally 4 ingredients. You want to have a pork neck, and you do want to use pork neck. I've tried it with other cuts of pork. The flavor comes out good, but it doesn't have that same texture. This is going to come out like the really thick steaks that you could literally cut with a butter knife. And 3 more ingredients. Some onions. You need a lot of onion, salt, and pepper, and that is it. And I would buy these from the butcher all the time and throw them on the grill. I love them. If they're serving them at a restaurant or a grill, that's the first thing I'll order. When you taste the flavor in it, you think, okay, there's a lot more to it, to the marinade. When I looked it up, it was like, that is really it. There's variations. People will add other stuff to it. Last time I made them, I just used salt, pepper, and onion, and it turns out amazingly good. I suggest sticking to those ingredients first time. Then if you want to play around with it, you can. Last time I did it with pork back, and that didn't have that marbling of fat, and it didn't come out as like tender and juicy. And I cold smoked the pork before. That was actually good. I mean, it was still good, but this is the correct meat to use. I've got about a little over 1.5 kilos here, and it's getting ridiculous. That was almost 15 euros. It's like €9 for a kilo of pork now. It's just, inflation has gotten ridiculous. But what can you do? So first thing I want to do is just slice up these onions. I'm going to slice them nice and thin. And you want a lot, so you're going to get a bowl and just pile them in there. So I got 2 big onions cut up. Should be enough. If not, it's no problem to add a little bit more. Now to cut the steaks. General way to look at it is 2 fingers wide. So looks like I'll get 4 steaks out of this 1.5 kilos of meat. Do not chintz on this. These are what make them so special, is the really thick cut and the technique we're grilling it. It just makes it come out amazing. And neck meat is really good. It's nice marbled of fat that's going to render down. The way this grill works, it's almost like a rotisserie. Almost. It's something unique. Next, I'm going to just lightly season them with salt and pepper. Do that on both sides. And once you have the steak seasoned, I'm going to do the same thing with the onions, salt and pepper. Plenty of salt. It's going to kind of help get the juice out of those onions. Now we want to get in there with our hands and just start crushing it up, squeezing it together. It's going to get the onion to release all the juice. That's going to essentially be the marinade. Alright, and ideally I would have a rectangular container, plastic container to put this in for the marinade, but I can't seem to find one, even though I know I have several. I want enough to make like a bed on the bottom. You're basically doing stacks of onion, steak, onion, steak, onion. Enough to coat the bottom. Throw a couple of big ones first, right in there like that, And we're going to put another layer of onions over them and along the sides. So it seems like a lot of onion, but now you see why. Next layer of steak. And top it off with onion. So it's just enough. So there we have it. I'm just going to cover that with a lid or some plastic wrap. And the hardest part about this, you got to let this marinate for 24 hours. So I'm going to get that in the fridge. And then we'll take a look at the grill and a little bit of history on this, and we'll come back tomorrow to actually cook it. Alright, so legend has it this, there's several names for it, like I said. Like Rhineland-Palatinate, they'll call it Spiessbraten. If it comes from Idar-Oberstein, it is Idar-Obersteiner, or Schwenker, Schwenkbraten, Schwenksteak from Sauerland. Legend has it this actually originated from Brazil. So it was in Idar-Oberstein and Hunsrück area. We have the Edelsteinstrasse, Deutsche Edelsteinstrasse. That's like that whole area has mines all over it, and they're known for the semi-precious stones. In Idar-Oberstein, you go there, and there's museums on it. There are mines you can visit. A lot of stores selling the minerals. So in the early 19th century, a lot of the German immigrants were over in Brazil, and the agate cutters were going further out in the country, and they discovered the Brazilian I can never remember the word, chascaria. The German grilling big meats over open fires. So that was inspiration for it. And the Schwenker grill itself, I guess, has a lot to do with Sauerland. It was a big steel industry, so people took pride in making these. You can buy them, you can buy kits, but a lot of people make them. And really, it's a tripod. This is adjustable to raise the height. Also, the legs are adjustable. And the grill is on a chain. Schwenker literally means to swing or to pivot or pendulum. So this thing, you're constantly keeping it moving, swinging back and forth and twisting it to swing. Some of them are fancier. They'll have like a pulley and like a reel to change the height, and they're heavier duty. And that's just going to go over a fire pit. I have my redneck fire pit, washing machine drum, and chair legs from a office chair. Commonly, they use beech wood, start a wood and fire. And you're going to keep the height of the grill about an inch or two above the top of the flames. And the way it's constantly moving and getting indirect and direct heat, it just does something magical to the meat when it cooks. And not just for this recipe, also for bratwurst, you can do vegetables, you could do bread, you can do other cuts of meat, anything you can really grill, you can do this way, and it comes out really good. So I guess these are starting to become a little bit more popular in the States, but the ones they sell even in Germany are really expensive. This one it's an old one, it was here when I moved in. I've made a couple of them. It's not that hard to make. I mean, you need a tripod and some chains and buy a round grill from a barbecue. If you're interested, I might do a video of that in the future of building one of these. Just let me know in the comments below. But that is the Schwenker grill, and these things are just awesome. Most Germans have one, and I cannot believe they're not more popular. They're excellent, they're very versatile, and they fold up and they don't take much space, so it's really easy to just get it out of the weather when I'm not using it. Just gave them a flip, got a nice sear on first side, doing the second, same thing on the second side, and then I'm gonna, as the flames kind of lower, the heat kind of dies down, it's gonna just slowly finish off. And I mean, you could use a thermometer if you want. I can just eyeball it and know when they're done, but important to keep it moving. So these are just about done, looking really good, smelling good. And what's awesome about these grills is it's fire's dying down, going to embers, so I can just lower this really easily. So you can really manage the heat very easily with this by just raising it up or down. And at this moment, it's pretty much like indirect cooking with indirect heat, since it's spinning and it's further away from the fire. I'll probably lower it just for the last few minutes. Got some broccoli finishing up in the oven and ready to eat. Alright, so after pulling off the grill, put it in foil, let it rest a few minutes. And like I said, this is usually tender enough to use a butter knife. Oh, that's good. That's it. Thanks for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe. Till next time.